Now, many people will say certain things because they wrongly assume they are creating the right impression, and will equally wrongly avoid certain other statements for the same reason. There are three very hard to say phrases which actually I find myself saying quite often. In fact, most chairmen and CEO level executives that I've dealt with know how and when to say them. So when you hear yourself saying, I don't know, I need help, I was wrong, it's really not a problem. So here are a few ways to keep yourself in the real world, make the most of what you've got, change what's in your control, spin the other stuff on its head, and propel yourself forwards. It's time to get over the excuses of worrying about saying these three phrases and stop bullshitting yourself. And if you want me to do a more detailed video on this or all the other business bullshit cleared up subjects, just drop me a comment below and subscribe, and let's get you the business that your hard work truly deserves. I don't know. Now, it's amazing how many people are afraid of these words because they think by using them they will somehow appear, well, inadequate. Now, when I first shook hands with one particular client, I told him that I could make only two guarantees. The first, that if I didn't know something, I'd actually tell him. The second, that when I didn't know something, I would find somebody who really did. Now today, I probably know more than I did about 20 years ago, yet I find myself saying I don't know more and more all the time. I'll use it even when I really do know something, sometimes to just get more information or to compare versions of what is already known, but mostly because I believe the self-effacing approach is almost as more effective than the know-it-all, aren't I a smug tit approach. The inability of people to say I don't know, even in innocent social situations, can give you an insight into their business character. Now, I really do watch enjoying those kind of people squirm sometimes as they try and bluff their way through an entirely useless conversation. Now, what these people fail to realise is that by not admitting what you don't know can actually lead to suspicion about what you do know. I need help. Now, people are often afraid to ask for help or to accept it because they believe that somehow, again, this will show that they are inadequate in their job or running their business. If they would just think about it for a moment, they would realise that the system is actually set up for getting and receiving help. The whole business and corporate assumption is that certain tasks and effectiveness in accomplishing those tasks are sometimes better achieved by groups rather than individuals. Now, I once chatted with an executive who insists on being the lone arranger. He would bring in a deal, or actually no, he wouldn't bring in a deal actually, unless it didn't involve anybody else, until it was totally wrapped up because he was afraid that he wouldn't get all the credit that he deserved. Now, on several occasions, both he and the company would have been far better off if he had asked for help and used some of the talent available to him. Not asking is generally a really short-sighted and narrow-minded view. Asking for help is the way that you learn, expand your knowledge, your expertise, and your value to the business. Equally important is actually knowing when asked how to give help. Those who don't suffer from the same kind of deal paranoia that kind of afflicted the lone arranger. People who are reluctant to share their knowledge, their contacts, their trade secrets within their own business are simply not going to have a very strong support system when they need one. You accepting help and you're giving it are going to be remembered and acknowledged by any sort of enlightened management. I was wrong. Now, the owner of a medium-sized business recently expressed to me his frustrations over the conservative attitude of his management-level employees. The problem, he said, is that they're all afraid to kind of make a mistake. Now, there is a business philosophy that I subscribe to which says that if you aren't making mistakes, you're really not trying hard enough. I believe that to get ahead in business, you have to be constantly testing the edge. It means that often you are going to be wrong. The good executives are right most of the time, but they also know why they are wrong and they're not afraid to admit it. The people who are least secure about their abilities have the hardest time admitting their mistakes. They fail to realize that making a mistake and admitting it and then owning up to it are two totally separate acts. It's not the mistake itself, but how a mistake is handled that forms the lasting impression. These people would be so much better off and would look so much better in the eyes of management if they could admit their mistakes and get on with it rather than waste everybody's time trying to rationalize it, cover it up, and put the blame somewhere else. And that's it. 3 phrases that are very easy to say, but we all make up sorts of bullshit excuses as to why we don't. All 3 can come from a position of strength.
and that's where they should come from. Now, say after me, I was wrong. I need help because I don't know.